Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It is absolutely incredible to be with you today. I'm live in Seattle, as you can see in the confines of my hotel. But I wanted to get this episode out. This is what we do. You know what I mean? This is the creme de la creme of what we do this week. The scouting report, predictions, matchup, all those things for this week. And what a game. This is the biggest game on the 49ers schedule all freaking year. If you had to go back in the DeLorean, as I always say, right? Go back in time and say, okay, the 49ers can win one game this year. One game. What game would that be? I said initially the Rams game. I thought the Rams would be the competition. I was way off on that. I thought Seattle would be basically just flip all the expectations that you had for the Rams and the Seahawks, and that's where we are now. But this is it, number one, and everything is on the table. The 49ers win this game, and we all know this. If the 49ers win this game, you lock up the division. It's clinched. You will be the first team in the NFL to clinch their division this year. What a statement, testament to Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, this organization. You're on your third quarterback, and you could be the first team in the NFL to win your entire division. It's absolutely incredible, the opportunity that is there. Now, that's just setting the table. You have to capitalize. You have to go forward and win that game. And that's what's up. Shout out to Josh. He says, great way to start the morning. I love it. Appreciate you, Craig. All the hashtag CCs. David Wallner's in here, my old mentor himself. He's a Cowboys fan. We love him. He's a troll. Don't fall for the traps. He's incredible. Johnny, what's up, man? He says, bring some earplugs. I've been to that stadium 4 times, and I have a headache by halftime. I love it, man. My favorite places to go, I did grad school in Kansas City, so I went to a lot of the Chiefs games. My favorite places to go, Eagles games at the Link, Kansas City. I want chaos. A lot of people will say it's because I did get a lot of hugs as a kid. You might be right. That's okay. I want that chaos, man. I freaking love it. Absolutely love it. And love it. What's up, Memphis, Maine? Appreciate you guys. And I'll say this, this is why we're fans. I hate that it's a Thursday game, but I will take it. The fact that it's a primetime game and everybody's going to be watching, right? Everybody's going to have their eyes on nothing but the 49ers and nothing but the Seahawks matchup. And you get to prove who you are. There's a lot on the table. If we just look individually, and again, we'll get into what the Seahawks do well, what they do bad, matchups they exploit, predictions, bets, all that stuff. But if I step back and look at this matchup, Nick Bosa's got the most on the line. Nick Bosa does. And, he's fighting for Defensive Player of the Year. And I would say, at worst, tied at the top with Micah Parsons. I think he's ahead of Micah Parsons. I know I'm biased. I don't watch a lot of Cowboys tape. But I'll tell you this. If you go out there and perform on primetime TV with the entire NFL world, media, fans, everybody watching, and you do what you're capable of doing, you can kind of distance yourself from everybody else down the stretch of this, season. And so I think that's huge. A Mosquito Killer, I love it. He says, go from 3-4 to first in the NFL to clinch a division. That is quite the journey. That's saying a lot. What's up, Jack, my good friend? He says, but John, you were right about how much worse the Rams were going to be. You were the only person I had saying that in the offseason. I kept screaming at everybody, remember when the Rams signed Bobby Wagner, Allen Robinson, and everybody was just so pissed. And they were just like, how can they keep doing this? And the whole time I'm like, guys, look over here. Look over here. 8 starters lost. They lost 8 starters. If they have an injury or two, watch out. And this is the difference between the Rams and the 49ers. I put out there on Twitter There are 5 starting quarterbacks out right now, currently, for the NFC West. Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, gone. Matt Stafford, John Wolford, gone. Kyler Murray, gone. All those guys are gone. Every team's had issues, except for the Seahawks. They've started and ended with Geno, but that's not like, hey, congratulations, it's Geno freaking Smith, which he's played well. Like, I'm not trying to say, like, whatever, but it's not like he's a top 5 quarterback by any stretch. But what teams can overcome those things? What teams cannot? And the 49ers have insulated themselves. We've said this over and over this whole entire freaking year, that if you look at what the 49ers did with the depth and building of their roster, it paid dividends. Now, Brock Purdy, it's kind of weird to be like, all right, Brock Purdy's going to be the guy. But, man, he's answered the call. This is only a second career start, and I think a lot is on the table for Brock Purdy as well, because you want to see how this kid can do in the playoffs, right? 49ers are going to the playoffs. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. The ESPN, percentages are 94% they're making the playoffs. The issue becomes, how can you perform in the playoffs? It's not enough for the 49ers to make it. We're not the Dallas Cowboys, right? Yeah, they make the playoffs. They're happy. They're not going anywhere. They don't have a win in the divisional or championship round in 28 years. They just want to get in so Jerry can sell his tickets. We're not that team. That's it. We are a championship caliber team that's been to the Super Bowl twice, to the NFC Championship game twice in 3 years. You've been to the Super Bowl twice in a decade. Now you got to win it. That's what we're concerned about, right? This is the test. This is the test. You get to see what he can accomplish in a hostile environment on the road. Now, the team he's going against, not a lot of faith in them. Thank you, James. Appreciate the gift in the super chat. He says, how many starts do you need to see from Purdy to make an accurate evaluation? Well, okay, let's back up and just look at the 2020 draft, right? You have Trevor Lawrence, you got Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence is just now starting to look good. Justin Fields is just now starting to look good. Look how long it took for them to decide that Zach Wilson does not look good, right? I mean, it takes a year plus. Now, I will say Brock Purdy stepped into a pretty good environment. I would say Trey Lance did too, but we just haven't seen it. Decided to rest him, let him learn behind Jimmy. I think that was the right call. And then comes back and gets injured in the 5th quarter that he's playing. So, it's a very small sample size. Brock Purdy, guess what? He's played 2 games, got the oblique issue, but he's still strong, right? He's going to be playing. I don't care what the injury reports say. That dude's still playing. But this is, you're jumping into a college semester class a week before finals. And so you got to play makeup. You got to catch up. He's been there for a while, but I don't know. And again, I'm going to constantly go back. This is going to kind of be my chalkboard answer. Just enjoy. Don't worry about the future right now. Don't do that because it gets dangerous. And I understand, I'm not saying that's a bad, whatever to go through, but I am saying, look, man, if you just enjoy this moment with Brock Purdy, you're going to enjoy the future as well. It's going to solve itself because the 49ers do not have to make any decisions. They don't have to make any decisions about next year's stuff going on, not for a long time. So only decision you got to make right now is for Seattle tomorrow night, Thursday. That's it. And guess what? Brock's the guy. No evaluation. He's going to show you. He is going to prove whether he belongs or whether he doesn't. Right now, he's freaking aced every single practice test, quiz, however you want to say it, whatever. He's got it all in freaking spades. And so, yeah, Mike, I will say this. They have drafted really well the Seahawks. I love it. And got to give them credit. We'll see how it pans out. We'll see what they got to do next year. They're getting a top 5 pick because Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson sucks, which I like that he sucks, but I hate that even when he sucks, it helps the Seahawks. They're just Teflon proof whenever it comes to Russell Wilson. Juan, what's up, man? He says, good morning, Countdown Crew just landed. Yeah. When Juan Solis is in the building, man, it's going to be incredible. He's coming out tonight. And if you are anywhere around Seattle, oh my gosh, or if you know anybody that's coming to the game, our free events start tonight. We've got a free event with the Seattle Faithful chapter. We're going to be at Kel's Irish Pub in Pike's Place. market. So come on out to that at 6 p.m. Going to be a blast. We're giving away all kinds of stuff. Had a really good time hanging out with Wayne Breezy. Got in yesterday. Uncle Salty. We went and got some pub food, which was a lot of fun. And then tomorrow we got the tailgate before the game. Tony T's Sports Lounge. Man, tailgate set up from 1 to 4. Get your tickets, 49ersrushroadtrip.com. And as always, man, just got to look for that flag. Now, let's get to, and, I'm flying solo today, and I've got like this makeshift whatever. It's not my usual setup with the multiple screens where I can monitor everything. So please tag me in the chat if you've got a question. I'm going to do my best to figure out how to get those questions up. And so please tag me in the chat, put @John in the chat so I can see it. Brad says, can you smell what the Brock is cooking? I can. He's cooking everything. And, Christy, she's going to assure us he's going to be fine. I think he will too. You don't have to be great. In this game, above all of that, above everything else is, man, you don't have to be great this game. You really, really don't. Why have the 49ers had so much success in the playoffs? And again, if there were, Cowboys fans that were knowledgeable, I would ask them this question. Why do the Cowboys always lose in the playoffs? Why do the 49ers always win in the playoffs? Recently, strong defense, great running game. Those travel well. Kyle Shanahan has 4 road playoff game wins in 3 years. 3 years. That's not by accident. It's the way you build this team. It's the way Shanahan built his teams. It's the way Kubiak built his teams. It's the way Dad Shanahan built his teams. And guess what? They work. Oh, speaking of this, he says, John, is that a Super 8? It's not. It's a Hyatt, which I got pretty cheap, which was really, really nice. The trick is if you go in one day earlier than the rest of the crowd, you usually get pretty cheap rates. Anyway, we'll put that there. I love this. Ernest says, Chapman as a Trey Lance fan, is it concerning that Brock Purdy looked better to start than some Trey Lance? No, not at all. That's a great thing. Whoever is quarterback, I want to perform better than all the other quarterbacks. First off. 2, it kind of makes sense, right? Why did you draft Trey Lance? You drafted Trey Lance for the ceiling for what he could be, right? The raw talent, the mobility, the huge body, the rocket arm, all those things. Brock Purdy looks great, and it's kind of like the Mac Jones conversation. Like, are they coming into the league kind of peaked out, matching their talent? If you look at why Brock Purdy went where he did in the draft, it's because it's hard to find the ceiling. But having said that, he had the highest quarterback rating in the NFL of any quarterback that played last week. So if he can do that, great. But you did see on like a lot of the deep throws, it leaves a lot to be wanting from the eye test. But that doesn't mean you can't be a great Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's just the ceilings, right? That's the idea. You got Trey Lance, who had, 17 starts. Brock Purdy had 50 starts in college. There's difference. Brock Purdy's older than Trey Lance by almost a full year. And I don't think that it's so much of a competition. I think it fits into the entire draft philosophy for why you went with Trey Lance and why that was a good call. That's the idea. And the reason why was the ceiling. You're hoping for what he can become. He hasn't become it yet, though. We've only seen him in 3 games. So got to kind of wait and see. But no, I don't see it concerning. I'm happy. I hope Brock Purdy becomes the greatest quarterback that's ever played in the game all time. That's what I want to happen. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Sierra says, I got some extra tickets for the Seahawks versus 49ers. Great seats. Who's interested? Reach out to Sierra. She's on Facebook. That's Sierra Hunt. I'm not familiar with Sierra, but I appreciate you coming on here. And if we can get somebody some good tickets and help you out, that's a huge win. So reach out to her on Facebook. Sierra, that's Cierra Hunt. So go ahead and reach out to her. She'll be able to figure that out. So anyway, let's go to, man, I got to get to my notes. I got like 6 pages of notes I got to get to, and I didn't pack my computer charger, and so my computer is going to die at some point. So anyway, let's get through this. This game's everything. Shout out to Coach Cruz for helping with this research and getting it all done. 49ers win, you're the NFC champs. We've already talked about. Run the ball. The premise is set for the way in which to be successful. Christian McCaffrey, freaking Jordan Mason. Run the ball. The Seattle defense is terrible. They cannot stop the run to save their lives. They're 31st out of 32 teams. Only the Houston Texans are worse. Every single team. Josh Jacobs ran for 200 yards by himself against this team just this month. You go back to the offense for the Seattle Seahawks, not great. Yeah, they're winning games. They've lost 3 out of 4, though. And the last time they played in week 2, the Seattle Seahawks scored 0 offensive points. They had that special teams fake punt. That blocked the kick and ran it back. Fake punt was last year. And so it's not really a lot that you've got to really worry about. But rivalry game on the road, short week. You win this, not only do you win the division, you put a lot of pressure on the Minnesota Vikings for that 2 seed. Now, how did the Seattle Seahawks get here? Let's look at their year. Started off in the Russell Wilson Bowl, beat Denver by 1, lost to the 49ers by 20 the next week. Then they lost to the Falcons by 4, beat the Lions by 3, lost to the Saints by 3, then they went on a tear, a 4-game win streak. Beat the Cardinals by 10, Chargers by 14, Giants by 14, Cardinals by 10. That was their stretch. After that, they go to Germany, lost to the Bucs that we just blew out 35-7, lost to the Bucs by 5, lost to the Raiders by 6 in overtime, beat the Rams by 4 with their, third string quarterback, and then they lost to the Panthers by 6 last week. At home, got ran all over. 3 out of 4 losses. We're on a 6-game win streak. Best in the NFL. Now, if you look at just what they've allowed and what they haven't allowed, 30th in points allowed, 25 points per game, 6th in points scored, 26 points per game. PFF rankings overall, they're 12th, offense 8th, defense 23rd, special teams 18th. They are consistent on offense against every team except the 49ers. It's a bad matchup for them against our defense. We want teams to dink and dunk and try to run the ball. Guess what? They dink and dunk and try to run the ball. We are great at those two things, stopping those two. Teams that beat the 49ers got to throw the ball deep. Geno Smith, he can, just not really his thing. The 49ers on Pro Football Focus, overall 3rd, offense 10th, keeps climbing there. Defense 3rd, special teams 23rd. I have no clue how Pro Football Focus has the 49ers defense is 3rd when they're 1st in points allowed, 1st in total yards allowed, 1st in almost every single category, but I digress. Pete Carroll, the old gum chomper himself. I thought about doing this episode chomping gum, but I have that weird thing where people chewing bothers me, and I didn't want to. I would unsubscribe from a podcast if somebody did that, and I don't want you guys to do that today. So we'll take that for what it is. Now, Pete Carroll, he just turned 71 a few months ago, the oldest coach in the NFL. He's 126-78 and 1 loss with the Seahawks, but most of that's with Russell Wilson. He's 22-24 without Russell Wilson. Career as a head coach. Now, injuries, there's a lot. I fully expect Brock Purdy to play. I don't want to dive into all of that. Trey Brown, the Seahawks corner, he's questionable. Didn't practice Tuesday. We'll have to see what happens there. Ryan Neal, questionable. Their safety, Bruce Irvin, who kind of came out of retirement. He's been really good for them. Questionable. DJ Dallas, the running back, questionable. I think Kenneth Walker plays. But there's just a lot of guys. Al Woods, their best run-stuffing defensive tackle, doubtful to return this Sunday. I don't know. There's just a lot of bad there. The craziest thing about all of this is that Seattle leads this matchup. They've won 30 and we've won 18. Not great. If you just look recently, they've won 17 out of 22. But Russell Wilson's not there. He's no longer there. And you got that monkey off your back in week 2. You destroyed them. You played September 18th. Jimmy Garoppolo, listen to this stat line. 13 of 21, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. You don't need a beast performance from your quarterback to win this game. You don't. The 49ers rushed 45 rush attempts for 189 yards. And that was with Jeff Wilson Jr. He had 18 carries, 84 yards. Jeff Wilson Jr. is not good. He's all right. He's all right. I can't believe we got a 5th for him. But he's not Jordan Mason. He is not Christian McCaffrey. There's no doubt about those things. Now, let's jump forward. Let's go through this Seattle's defense. 25th in red zone out of 32 teams. Not good. 30th in rushing touchdowns allowed. Terrible. Bottom 3. They have forced 21 turnovers in 13 games. That's 5th best in the league. And I think they're going to force a turnover in this game. Hostile environment, Brock Purdy, he gets streaky, but you got to take the game out of his hands. Run the ball. Simple, easy checkdowns. You don't have to throw ball deep. If he does, that's great. He already has more deep touchdown passes than any quarterback for the 49ers all year. Already has those 3 deep touchdown passes. Jimmy Garoppolo had 2. Christian McCaffrey has 1 on that one play. So 18th in pass yards allowed, 28th in total yards allowed, 28th in third downs. Gosh, 28th in yards per rush, 4.9 yards per rush. They're giving up 5 yards a carry. The blueprint is simple. I've got more and more pages of notes here. None of these things matter. Force them to load the box with a 6-man front like most teams do against the 49ers. Run the ball anyway. Play action, quick passes, get one-on-one coverage on the outside, take advantage of it. It's simple. Break 1 tackle from Christian McCaffrey or Jordan Mason to the house. You saw this happen last week with the Bucs, who were a good defense. Seattle, terrible defense. They're not good. They are not good. It's not a good team. And so, the more and more I look at it, it's just, man, you be who you are. You don't have to be crazy. Brock Purdy only threw the ball, less than, I think, right at 20 times last game. You put up 35 points in a half in one drive. You don't have to have that explosiveness and all that kind of stuff. You just got to go out there and be yourself and run the damn ball. And if it's ugly, who cares? It's a Thursday divisional matchup, short week. Let it be ugly. The uglier, the better is what I say, because the 49ers have the better defense. And ugly football goes to the 49ers defense. Now, before we talk about the offense, real quick, the best way to support the show, the best way, patreon.com.
All you got to do is go to patreon.com/49ers Rush Podcast. And as soon as you sign up, you get almost everything, depending on the tier you pick. And if you're just interested in 49ers play, guess what? We have every single offensive, defensive, and special teams play from the last 2.5 years. Every single game for the 49ers. Nobody else has this content. Now, not to mention we have extra episodes weekly. We've got scouting report breakdowns. We've got betting. We've got your one-stop shop for 49ers content. And if you want to be heard, guess what? We got Zoom Hangouts twice a month where we listen to you. Patreon.com/49ers Rush Podcast, or just Google Patreon and 49ers. We're the first one that shows up.
All right. I freaking love it. Shot J says, like, subscribe, Patreon, show the support, keep being awesome while I get some desperately needed coffee. I love it, man. I went down and got some nice coffee this morning. Had a good conversation with some locals. I'm wearing my Seattle Supersonics NBA Jam t-shirt with Detlef Shrimp and Sean Kemp. I just felt like just a little bit more. It is my childhood NBA Jam, right? Like, he's heating up, but I feel like this just like takes a dig at all the people seeing the Niners and the Supersonics. This is what you had. You lost it. We're coming to take everything. It's a little subliminal, little jab that people aren't picking up on because they see the Niner stuff and they're just like, oh, screw this guy. And then they see this and they're like, oh. And so, like, I don't know if it's working, but I'm single-handedly trying to infiltrate the spirits of the Seattle fan base and just cause drama. It's what it is. Anyway, let's get to, if you look at across this entire game, I don't care whatever matchup, individual, huge units, whatever else, the most consistent thing, the most powerful force is the 49ers defense, which is on a historic pace. And we've talked at length just about like how historic this defense is. It's not the best defense in the NFL this year. It's on par with the best defense of the last decade in the NFL. I said this a little earlier. If you want to know how to win on the road, you run the ball, you play great defense. That will keep you in every single game. And let's just say, hypothetically, the 49ers can't find a way to run the ball against this terrible defense. Brock Purdy's back there. Things go bad, multiple interceptions. He gets rattled in a hostile environment. Cool, whatever. The defense has to step up. Fred Warner said earlier in the week, there is no pressure on Brock Purdy because the defense has everything that needs for this team to win. If teams can't score points, you can't lose. So do your job as a defense and just take it over. Now let's look at what they have to go against, right? With the Seahawks offense. 10th in interceptions thrown, 9. All right, not bad. 4th in touchdown passes thrown, 25. They've thrown a lot of touchdowns. 8th in third downs, 23rd in red zone. 13th total yards, 9th passing yards, 6 points. 21st in rush yards. Not good. Not good. Who are the teams that beat the 49ers? Teams that can run the ball. I'm not talking about the Denver game, which was the worst quarterback performance I've ever seen from 2 quarterbacks in the history of my life. I'm not talking about the monsoon game in week 1. I'm talking about the Chiefs, and I'm talking about the Falcons. They beat the 49ers. Chiefs beat us by throwing the ball deep and being able to run the ball whenever they wanted to. And the Falcons beat us just by running the ball. That's just all they did. Marcus Mariota didn't have – I think he had 1 incomplete pass, and that came in the 4th quarter. It doesn't fit with what the Seahawks do. They don't do either of those 2 things. So the 2 ways, one, we were injured in both those games considerably. The 49ers are much healthier now than they have been at any point in the season, and that's with Debo out. That's with Jimmy Garoppolo out. That's with Trey Lance out. Yeah, there's injuries. In the defensive line group with Kevin Givens out, that hurts. With Ridgeway out, that hurts. But Ty McGill's played great. Kerry Hyder's expected to play this week. Eric Armstead is playing unbelievable. You look back over the last 2 weeks and you see that elevated linebacker play from Warner and Greenlaw, which I think both are playing all-pro level football right now. Eric Armstead is one of the main crucial reasons why. His stat sheet might not show up, but guess why Jimmy Ward intercepted that pass 2 weeks ago? Eric Armstead. Guess why interceptions took place this past week? Eric Armstead. Like, the dude just frees up everything. He's like the secret ingredient that just makes this 49ers defense the best that there is. I freaking love it. Now, strengths, it's their wide receivers. Talking about the Seattle Seahawks offense. Lockett, he's 15th on Pro Football Focus out of 123 graded wide receivers. Metcalf's 14th. Geno Smith is 9th of all quarterbacks, and they've got a bad offensive line. Their interior offensive line is really, really bad. They only managed 36 yards rushing against us in week 2. 36. Not great. And they want a dink and dunk, and they want a power running game. The problem is their O-line does not fit that. It just doesn't fit that. Now, interesting connections, ties between these 2 teams. Shout out to Coach Cruz again. He does a great job. Tanner Muse, Ray McLeod, they played together at Clemson. Ray is going to be a huge factor till Debo comes back. Huge factor. Kittle, Austin Blythe, they were together at Iowa. Kittle also overlapped with tight end for the Seahawks, Noah Fant. They work out together at tight end U stuff. They're very, very close. Damian Lewis and TDP played together at LSU. Byron Monet and Ambry Thomas, Michigan. Tony Jones Jr., Aaron Banks, Notre Dame. Ty McGill, Josh Jones, NC State. There's a lot of these. Spencer Burford, Leroy Washington, Tariq Woolen, UTSA. Turning into a powerhouse, baby. The Roadrunners. Seattle long snapper and Kyle Juszczyk at Harvard. Back-to-back games with Harvard connection going on. I don't think I can say Harvard connection. That was I think that's trademark. Shout out to Facebook Days. D. Eskridge, Jalen Moore, both Western Michigan were together. Curtis Robinson, Colby Parkinson at Stanford. Darrell Taylor, Jawan Jennings, Tennessee. Michael Dickinson, Poona Ford, Charles Omenihu, hook 'em baby. We got the Texas connection going on. And Cody Barton and Money Mitch were at Utah together. So a lot of connections, a lot of overlap. These 2 teams play each other twice a year, minimum. It's big. It's big. Now, a couple bets. Our sponsorship with MyBookie has come to a close for this year, which they have been incredible. I still support them. I still use them. Our promo code still works, but they're not paying for stuff over there. Use our promo code 49ers. But a couple bets. I'm going to load these up on Patreon as soon as this show is done, if my battery doesn't die. I'm taking the 49ers to cover the spread for the first time in a long time. It's 3.5 points. So the 49ers have to win by 4 or more. The 49ers have only had 2 games this entire year where they have been within a touchdown game. They've been blowout central. And the spreads have been nuts, and they've covered it every damn time almost. This is not a crazy spread. 3.5 points, but I get it. It's in Seattle. Brock Purdy, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. I'm taking it. Also, one of my favorite bets of the week, Dre Greenlaw over 7.5 tackles. So he's got to get to 8 to get paid. I really like that one. He had 15 last week. As long as Eric Armstead's there, this dude's going to be going. He's going to be going, man. I'm excited about it. Now, predictions. And I'm sorry I haven't been as involved in the chat as I usually am. We've got so many notes that I want to get to. So I really do apologize about all of that. But, man, the chat is on fire today, and I freaking love it. And we've even got, so many awesome people. I freaking love it. It says, where did y'all get that hat? This one is at Residency, and use promo code SFBreezy to get $5 off. Support Wayne Breezy. They don't pay me. They do pay Wayne, though, and Wayne's the best there is. So I freaking love it. I love it, man. Appreciate you guys, all the people in the chat. I really do. Sorry I haven't been as active there. It's hard in this setup. I got this temporary, I got phone and computer and notes and all this stuff. But the important thing is this, and why you guys come here. The 49ers are ready to stamp their claim that not only have they arrived, they are the force to reckon with in the NFL. You look at Thursday night games, they're sloppy, man. You look at divisional Thursday night games, they're sloppier. They're almost impossible to predict, which I get the spread kind of being what it is. I don't care. This is a bad matchup for the Seahawks. The 49ers are blowing everybody out. Remember all the conversation about the Miami game? That was 2 weeks ago. How can they keep up with this offense? All right, cool. They scored almost as much points on defense as the Miami Dolphins did on offense. Then you got Tom Brady. Oh, nobody can beat Tom Brady. Look at all the rookies and first-year starters and how he is against the number one defenses and blah, blah, blah. Don't give a damn. Blew his ass out at home. Blew him out, man. And then asked for autographs afterwards. That is just sprinkles on top of the sundae, baby. I think the Seahawks came out, kind of took the league by storm. Not the 49ers. They lost by 20 week 2. But besides that, they were playing some very conscious football. And kind of what Pete Carroll does. He's a very good coach. Very good coach. Oldest coach in the NFL, which is crazy to me. He lets other teams lose games. And they are just so good at we're just going to put the ball down the fairway. We're not going to make mistakes. We're just going to keep playing. But what's happened is injuries, more film on them. They've gotten kind of predictable and stagnant. And teams have been able to take advantage of that. I think the 49ers are going to destroy this team. I really, really do. And, again, I'm going to say this over and over again. 2 constants to winning in tough environments on the road. Strong running game, great defense. Niners got spades in both. I don't think it's close there. Now, that's why, again, 49ers have won 4 road playoff games in 3 years. It's important to me. And so I do think the Seattle Seahawks will score finally on the 49ers defense, not much. But again, they didn't score any offensive points the very first time we met them this year. But I think they will this year. Warner and Greenlaw will continue to prove they are both all-pro level linebackers. A lot of that has to do with Eric Armstead. I've got Greenlaw getting 10-plus tackles, and I've got Warner getting an interception. He almost got one on Tom Brady, but Dre Greenlaw did. Warner's not going to let Greenlaw outplay him. I think that inner competition between the two is beautiful. Can't let him outdo him in coverage. Run game, cool. Can't let him outdo you in coverage now. Offensively, I don't care how Purdy plays. I don't care if he throws an interception. I don't care if he doesn't throw a touchdown. That's not dependent on the victory of this game. It's the running game. I have Christian McCaffrey, and a lot of people are going to like this. Jordan Mason getting the same number of carries, 15 apiece. I've got Ray getting 3. I've got Kyle Juszczyk getting 2. That's 35 carries. That's more than enough. More than enough. The game stays close for a while until the end of the third quarter, that second half of the third quarter. The 49ers pull away. We've been betting the 49ers to have more points in the third quarter almost every week. Yeah, guess what? We got paid one too many times. The spread for the third quarter alone is 6.5 points for the 49ers. So, we broke all betting cycles. I hope y'all cashed in with us on that because we've been betting the 49ers to cover the third quarter spread, but the spread for the entire game is 3.5 points. The spread for the third quarter alone is 6.5 points. Tell me how that makes sense. So no, I'm not betting that this week that they, outscore, but they might cover it. Like, I don't understand how that makes sense, but we we took advantage of the system too much. We got paid too much on that bet. Anyway, the game stays close. And again, as I said, there's only been 2 games this entire year for the 49ers that were decided by a touchdown or less. I think it's going to continue that way. I really do. I got the 49ers winning by 11, 27-16. This team is just, it's better. It's better. It's way better. Mr. Intentional says, we're 6-0 since CMC learned this offense. You are correct. I love it. I love it. Yeah, and here we go. Throw this up there. Akshay says, also the stat for Thursday night, Seahawks is 10-1 in the last decade on Thursday. That's great. Tom Brady was 8-0 against the number 1 defense before us. Tom Brady was 8-0 against quarterbacks making their first start before us. That's awesome. We are trend breakers. Go ahead. Put that up there. Don't care. I'm not worried about Geno Smith versus offense. I'm sorry. I'm not worried. I'm really not worried. The 49ers will become the first team to clinch their division. 49ers are going to win. Now, could they lose this game? For sure. Any given Sunday, division rival, Thursday, all those things. But I'm telling you this, if this game was played 10 times, the 49ers win it 8 out of 10 times. You have to have the ball do some wonky stuff and some weird plays in order to get what you think is an opportunity to win this game. The 49ers are just a better roster. They're just a better roster. It's better. With Brock Purdy, I don't give a damn. It's what it is. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for putting up with the different situations and surrounding. It's hard to record and kind of keep your pace on the road, but it's worth it. And appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the support. And man, going to be fun. I've got a top 5 episode already recorded. Top 5 49ers to watch. That's going to be coming out tomorrow morning. And man, appreciate you guys. Thank y'all so much. And next time that we are live together, right after the game, I'll be going live at the stadium, win, lose, or draw, right here on YouTube. So come check us out for that live reaction. Until next time, 49ers will be locked up the NFC West next time we talk. It's going to be fun. Till then, stay strong, faithful.